Welcome back, everybody. It's been a couple weeks since I've been out in the garage. I had a couple issues. One, a couple weekends ago was really cold. I didn't want to justify running the furnace out here, because of the cost, and my garage is not insulated. I took that weekend off, and then last weekend I was incredibly sick. I didn't get out of bed all weekend. Today we're going to continue on working on the firewall. Got to get all those welds ground down and get it all looking nice before we start on doing more of the rust. I picked up this wood stove for the garage. It's a tiny little thing, but I got it for free from one of the guys I work with. Got it hooked up yesterday, just temporary. I just made a little panel that goes in place of the window right here. Just got my window up a little bit. It takes up a lot of room in the garage, and that was the original idea behind not running a wood stove out here and just running this propane garage heater. But since he had it and was willing to give it to me for free, and it's so small, I figured why not try it. So I moved my bench over, give me some more space in the corner so that I still have all my space out here to work, and I think it'll be fine. I've had it running for a bit now, and we are about 50 degrees out here, which is pretty comfortable. I generally don't keep it very hot out here because it's a garage and I'm working. I wear my long johns and stuff, but the temperature's still going up and it's quite cold outside. So, this should work fairly well. And I got plenty of wood because we run wood in the house anyway. So anyways, back to the car. Gotta get started on grinding those welds down so we can move on with some more rust. All right, we're gonna start off with the angle grinder with a, 36 grit flapper disc on it to knock them down most of the way. And then we'll move on over to angle die grinder with a sanding disc on it. All right, first pass with the grinder down, looking pretty good. I definitely got some spots I gotta fill in to make it look nice. You can see down here where it's dark. This is a little low over here, and I don't want to grind too much. Same with up here. There's small spots here and there that I gotta fill in with the welder just to make it look nice, and then grind it down again. I don't know what I'm gonna do on the interior yet. If I knew I was definitely running carpet, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I would probably maybe clean the big spots up here, but where I don't 100% know what I'm doing with the interior, and I might not run a carpet, I want to get it as good as I can. So what I'm going to do now is fill in some of these spots with the welder, and then we'll grind it back off again. I didn't finish grinding because I'm having an issue with my die grinder and my air compressor. My air compressor is just not able to keep up with my die grinder, and it's creating a ton of moisture because that motor on the air compressor is getting so hot. I got sick of dealing with it. I'd sit here and wait, and then I'd go to use it again, and this thing would be so full of moisture, it would barely even run. So, just spraying water all over in here. I don't have anything on the air compressor to get rid of the moisture, so I'm gonna look into that. But for now, I'm just gonna go pick up a Milwaukee M12 die grinder and be done with it. I've wanted one for a while anyway, so I'll just get it now and then use it to finish grinding on this. I'm gonna have plenty more on this car to grind anyway, so I might as well just get it now and get it over with. All right, quick update. I've been spending a ton of time grinding and welding on this firewall to get it looking nice. So here's where we're at now. I got this all smoothed out here. I kept having issues with blowing through the sheet metal because I found out it's very, very easy to grind the sheet metal down so much that it gets too thin. So I've been spending a ton of time getting this to look as nice as it does now. Still got a bunch to go, but you can see I got this all smoothed out. I've done a lot over here. This, actually, I put a new panel in right here, and I ground that down so much, that thicker metal, that I still blew through there. But this is where we're at, just an update. So we'll keep working on that, and I'll catch back up with you after. But check this out, I got the wood stove going today. It's, I don't know, 35-ish outside right now. But even without insulation in the garage, it's up to 70 in here, so it's so much nicer to work with the heat up like it is. Anyways, back to working, and I'll catch up with you guys when I probably get done with that firewall and get it all finished, and I'm happy with it. All right, checking back in. I got the firewall basically done. So I got everything all smoothed out here. Grinded all my welds up here, and I did decide to replace this section here, so I just got that all welded in. I got to grind it down, but I've learned a bunch doing this, and I struggled a lot down here, especially in this corner. You know, it's curved all around here, and I kept blowing through. I'd make the, you know, I'd go to grind my welds down, and you know, I might have to tack a little bit to fill in a little divot or something like that to make it look nice. So it's, you know, so it's all nice and smooth. And I'd end up blowing through because I just, you know, me grinding one spot here, I kept getting the metal around it too thin, and, you know, thin enough that I could basically just push it with my thumb and it would dent. Honestly, I struggled a lot. It took me forever to get this as good as it is right now, and I think the big thing is I was trying to get it too perfect, you know, making it so there was literally no seam at all. You could not ever tell that there was any weld ever done there, and it's just unrealistic to do that. That's why they make body fillers. So now that I've spent a ton of time fixing this and getting it to where it is, I'm gonna back off a little bit on getting it absolutely perfect. See up here, you know, I could make this better. I could keep tacking in right here up on top of this weld here and smooth it down, but every time I do, I'm gonna end up sanding a little bit right here on this thin Datsun sheet metal, and I'm just gonna blow through it. I'm just gonna keep chasing it, and that's what I did down here. You know, I did the same thing up here. There was a little tiny pinhole here around this patch here, and I decided to put a tack on it, grind it down. As soon as I put a tack on it, it blew through, and I ended up having to fill this all in right here. Just complete waste of time. You know, what I was starting out with getting the welds ground down is my, you know, 4.5 inch either grinding disc or flapper disc, and it's very hard to pinpoint that on the weld here. No matter what you do, you're gonna be grinding out here too, just because that disc is so big. Then I did a lot with my 90-degree die grinder and these little sanding discs here, you know, the little roll lock discs. And that does work very well, although you go through these quickly, but they're super cheap and they work well. But again, you still sand down the area around the weld, and it's super easy to make it too thin. So one thing that I found works very well is actually to use the edge of a cutoff disc. You know, just put it on here like this, because you can pinpoint that exactly where it goes. So I'm gonna get this all ground down, then we're gonna get started back here behind the seat. Look at that. Firewall is finally 100% done. So much better. And So I got rid of the hole here, obviously, where the original wiring harness came through, because I don't know if I need it. I mean, I'm gonna be completely 100% rewiring the car. It's obviously not getting the same engine that was in the car, so I don't know where the wiring harness at all is gonna run through the firewall. So I figured, why waste time, keep that hole there if I don't know I need it. I'll just make a hole where I need it, when I need it. Now it's time to jump back here behind the seat. I scraped up some of the seam sealer that was around the seatbelt mount just to see what we're working with here. Popped off a couple spot welds with these metal tab things for holding the wiring harness we're on. But other than that, I haven't done anything back here. So what needs to be replaced is this whole section right here. My seam from the floor pan is going to go right here. So all of this stuff, I mean, my floor pan goes up here somewhere. Anyways, so we gotta get this right here because this is obviously all rotten. You know, this hole's through it, it's thin. Over here we need to get, and in the bottom here, where the seat belt sits, when it's all coiled up, there's holes in that, which probably wouldn't be that big of a deal because they don't go all the way through, but I still want to fix it. And I'm thinking, since I gotta cut here and get this out of the way, I might pop this off, and that looks like it's just held on with spot welds all around, and that'll let me, one, fix this easier, I can do it on the bench, and two, make sure I get all the metal here that needs to be replaced. I just marked up here the approximate height that the new floor pan is going to go. So I know I want to cut some of this out so I can get access to this metal back here that's not in good shape. That way I just know approximately how far up I can go before I'm out of floor pan. All right, we got through all 3 layers there. You can actually see, look at how crazy this fold is right here in the sheet metal from when they stamped it, just because it's so much of a crazy bend. So it's actually folded over on itself. Anyways, we got this all cleaned up down to just the bottom panel, and it doesn't look too bad. Obviously, it's pitted, right? But it's solid. So I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not cutting that out or anything. What I'm gonna do is I got some rust converter primer that we're gonna spray on there for now. That'll protect it as good as we can. You know, it's never gonna be perfect. I mean, you can see even up underneath these panels that are still good, there's some rust there. There's no way I'm ever gonna do anything about that. Next, I'm gonna try popping this out. Should come out fairly easy, I believe, as long as I can find all the spot welds. Actually, I misspoke. We actually got rust encapsulator. Rust converter is when you have like really thick rust that you're not cleaning off, and you don't want to use it on this bare sheet metal like this with just a little bit of pitting. You want to use rust encapsulator. So I had already bought a bunch of this stuff because I knew I was going to need it. And, you know, and I already bought my epoxy primer and everything that we're going to be doing the body in because they were having a sale. I bought all Eastwood stuff. From what I've read, Eastwood is very high quality. So I would rather spend the money and get something good, especially when this is my first time ever going to be painting a car or doing this much restoration. So anyways, let's get this rust encapsulator on there, and then we'll start getting that seat belt mount out. All right, I got this popped off. There's mostly just a bunch of spot welds around it, just seemingly randomly placed around the outside. The top edge was actually stitch welded up here though. I had to slice that open. And after that, I thought I was all done, but there's actually a couple spot welds underneath. So you got this little, I'm guessing it's on here as a support to make that seatbelt mount stronger. And there's a couple spot welds right here on the back. I had to drill from underneath. Once you cleaned up that underneath, you could see where they were. You know, see just right there. Didn't mean to drill all the way through, but it happens sometimes. So now we got this out. It's in basically good shape, not really deformed. So just got to do the repairs on this. And also, you know, that's kind of secondary right now. We got to clean this up. So I think what I want to do, this is all nice and solid out here. It's just right here is where it gets soft. So I think I'm just going to cut here and maybe right about there. And we'll pop that part off. And that should be it for this side. All right, got that piece popped off. Just sliced it there like I said. There was just a couple spot welds holding on right here, which just was the same ones that went through this panel that held this on, so we could just keep drilling through and get that off. So we got that. Just got to clean up this little bit of rusty stuff down here. Clean up as best we can with this cleanup disc. Just like we did over here, we'll put the rust encapsulator on, and then we can move on and start fabricating our replacement panels. All right, these areas here that just has real thin metal, it's all rotten and everything. It's way easier, I found, to just grind it down because it takes no time to get through it instead of trying to find those spot welds and cut them out. So that's why I'm just using this. I got this on hand. You could use a grinding disc or whatever, but this works well. As long as you're paying attention, there's no risk of cutting through and cutting this, because all you're doing is kind of slowly sliding along, no real pressure. You're not cutting through, you're just grinding, and you can see when it gets thin, it just peels up and then you're done. That's about as good as we can get it. You're never gonna get all this stuff off. That's why we use the rust encapsulator though, so you don't have to get every little bit out. I mean, even with a sandblaster, you'd struggle to get like in this areas and stuff like this. So that's why that rust encapsulator is very good. And this, you know, the same thing with this pitting over here. Well, there we go. Overall, I'd say it's a very successful day. The firewall, 100% done, at least on this side. Obviously, I haven't done, you know, cleaned up everything on anything on this side yet. We'll do that when it's up on the rotisserie. Much easier to do that part then. We got this back part all cut out, ready to go. Rust encapsulator's drying over here. The next time we'll start getting this stuff all fabricated. We'll have to make this piece here. We can get this all cleaned up. You know, we'll just cut out a little section of that, patch it in. We can spot weld it back in place right here once we're all done. And then it'll be time for the floor pan, which we've had sitting up here for quite a while now. I'm really happy with the progress we made. I'm hoping that all the stuff I've learned, all the mistakes I made, and the frustration I've had working on that firewall will pay off, and I can get this done much quicker. It's been at least a few weeks since I've uploaded a video, and that's just because, like I mentioned at the beginning, it had been really cold out here. I couldn't justify running that propane heater, but now I got that wood stove out here. And it's actually like 75 out here now. You know, it's to the point I'm actually hot, which is crazy because my garage isn't even insulated. Anyways, so that was one reason I haven't been working on stuff. And then like I mentioned, I was incredibly sick, like 105 fever one day. I didn't get out of bed for the whole weekend, and I had a 3-day weekend that weekend. So it was a big disappointment not to get out here. And then all the struggles with blowing through, taking too much material off, and just creating extra holes and extra work for myself up there. I did a lot of that work off camera because it wouldn't be that interesting for people to watch. So that has taken up the last few weeks, or weekends I should say. I don't get out here during the week during the winter. But we're moving now. Learned a lot from that firewall, and I'm gonna apply it to here, and then that floor pan should just drop right in. And it should go a lot quicker because I'm starting with a fabricated panel that I don't need to shape myself. Oh, we'll also have to fill this in right here. That's right. Once we get the floor pan sit in there and, you know, trim this off a little bit because it's a little extra long right now. Very happy. Cannot wait to be done with these floors so I can get it back up on the rotisserie and get the rest of the necessary rust repairs done, and then we can start on the 2JZ swap. So I absolutely hate doing rust repair. Love fabrication, you know, I love welding, but sheet metal work sucks. I absolutely hate it. So it's easy to get discouraged and not want to come out here in the garage, but I'm trying to push through so I can get to the stuff that I actually like to do, which, like I said, will be that 2JZ swap. So anyways, thanks for watching, and hopefully you come back to the next one. Leave some comments if you got any tips or anything that'll help me continue working on this stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.